against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever, Wally.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution, recovery, breaking news, culture, dramatic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. I'm starting the show differently. I have Opti on air with
weird.
me. Is it weird?
I don't know. Keep going.
Is it weird? I wanted to change
I'm not
it up.
used to it.
I wanted to throw a curveball.
Well, what's
anyways,
up, guys?
Yeah, what's up, bros? I mean, look, it's the Friday episode, tons to talk about. I know that there's this legendary stream that's going on right now by the Roaring Kitty, taking down the financial establishment using a stock. That's not the way you do it, bro. You want to know how you do it? You do it by taking self-custody. They're just going to keep turning off they're just going to keep on turning on the circuit breakers.
Yeah,
bro.
not only that, I saw that, I don't know all the details to this, but I saw that the game stock, they diluted their stock to try to dilute Roaring Kitty's position. It's like, bro, they're
gonna keep
this is why you Bitcoin.
They're gonna keep dumping it, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a strong movement. Like, it's such a powerful movement, and it's his heart and that movement is in the right place. It's just a shame that the virality it's gone viral on an inferior tool. Like, Bitcoin is the move. Is it boring at this point? Like, is that what it is, bro? I think it might just be boring, bro.
I think it's just people still think it's nerd money. They don't get why we Bitcoin. They don't get, literally, I've been saying for a minute that Bitcoin is the real GameStop movement. And yet I am surprised that all these people still haven't found out about Bitcoin. They still think they can change the system from within the system. And it's like, no, the game is rigged against you. Like, when are you going to wake up to that very simple fact that it's rigged against you? It is not meant for the little man to win. Yes, it is a defining moment and a defining movement. And I think it's one of those movements and like a moment in time that has to happen to show to everyone out there that it is actually rigged against you, so that more people start to wake up to just like the pure illegitimacy of the system at large. And, like, I think, I hate to say it, but it feels like it might be a necessary sacrifice. Like, it's got to be one of those battles that goes down. It's like one of those battles that you have to lose to win the war.
I mean, he's still like, he's still winning somehow. He's still like in their survival. They've shut it off.
Money.
They've shut it off. They've turned off the trading. Like, they've done like basically everything possible in order to sabotage this guy's success, and he just keeps going. He's got the love of the people. But again, I gotta say, like, Simply Freedom Channel, I love that. But like, he's just using the wrong tool. He's just using the wrong tool completely. Anyways, guys, today we have a very special show for you guys. Of course, it's Friday, so we're going to do the meme review. But also, I have a really interesting topic for you guys, and it's happening, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, but it is absolutely seismic. This is massive, okay? So do you remember that company that followed in the steps of Microstrategy? They're kind of like a zombie company. It's a company called SEMLER Scientific. It's a medical device manufacturer, and they acquired Bitcoin. Their stock pumped like 30%, and they just announced 6 hours ago that they're going to raise $150 million to buy more Bitcoin. Now, it's interesting because we've seen this play out before with Microstrategy. They've been using the infinite money glitch. Like, their stock goes up, they lend out, like, they borrow against their stock, they raise more dollars, they use those dollars to buy Bitcoin, the stock goes up, then they rinse and repeat. And it's like kind of like a speculative attack on the dollar, because it's using the traditional financial system against the traditional financial system so that you can win. And it just highlights like the insanity of like this debt-based system that you can just literally just like borrow unlimited amounts of money, but you're borrowing unlimited amounts of money for a scarce asset, for something that is absolutely scarce. So in a way, it's an attack because you're using the system in order to buy something that is absolutely scarce, and then you're taking basically, it's like it creates like this like infinite feedback loop of some sorts. And Jimmy Song wrote this amazing post on Stacker News that covers this phenomenon. So I'm going to put that post together with the news of today. And I think you guys are really going to appreciate it because it's super interesting. Like Michael Saylor speculatively attacked the dollar for sure, even if he didn't do it on purpose. And now it seems like other companies are following in his footsteps, but they're not doing this out of like maliciousness or just like kind of like central planning type of thing. They're doing this just because of Bitcoin's incentives, and they're taking advantage of the debt-based system. They're taking advantage of the traditional system. So I find that interesting. Also for you guys today as well, there's a couple TikTok videos, and it's just kind of sad. It's people like in the middle class, the lower classes here in the US, and they're just like, dude, like what the fuck is going on? I can't afford anything. And this is why this movement that we're currently living through is so important, because crypto kitties, sorry, not crypto, what is it? Roaring kitties? I don't even know. I'm not in the know in these things, but Roaring Kitties is, he's an escape valve of the frustration that people feel towards the system. He's a representation. He's a manifestation of FU to the man, like the rage against the machine. That's what Roaring Kitties represents. You have a whole generation of millennials and Zoomers and the younger Gen Xers that have been completely disenfranchised and fucked over by the 2008-2009 financial crisis. No one really paid the consequences for that. One banker went to jail. No notable bankers went to jail, right? And they're putting us in a box. They're putting Bitcoin privacy developers in a box. We as a society have not, that circle has not been completed. Like we haven't tied that knot yet. And that's why you have these like the rise of populism as well, politically all over the world. And you have the rise of people like Roaring Kitties that are just basically saying like, you know what, you're going to try to destroy one of the shops that meant a lot in my childhood as I went to go buy video games. And as a gamer myself, like, yeah, GameStop. And I think there's another one, it's called Game Boutique or something. Like you'd go there to get new video games. You don't have to do that anymore because you can download online. But it played a major role in some of these people's lives. And then you were like, all these hedge fund people that, you know, they're just using the cantillionaire effect and the fiat system. And they want to destroy something that meant a lot. Like, fuck you. I'm going to say no. I'm going to make you guys go broke. But what was really interesting is how much that shifted the Overton window and how much that exposed how corrupt the existing system is. Because it's capitalism as long as it's going our way, and as soon as it's going against us, it's actually socialism. The government has the duty to bail out the big banks whenever they get into, some trouble. You hear these terms, too big to fail. That's not a thing. Like that doesn't exist. And what that perpetuates is these fucking zombie companies, right? That doesn't motivate or create an incentive structure where you have the pursuit of excellence by entrepreneurs. That creates an incentive structure where it creates complacency. You have companies like Boeing, right? You know, these are companies that are getting like $100 billion government contracts to create planes and like weapon systems and all that shit. Dude, they couldn't even get a rocket in the air. Like it failed. Their planes are falling apart. And essentially you're creating like corruption. It's corruption. It's bureaucracy. That's the incentive structure that fiat creates. It like breeds in society. So yeah, I mean, look, he might not be a Bitcoiner yet, but shout out to what the Roaring Kitty movement is doing, because at least it's waking people up. It's our job as Bitcoiners to really arm them with the correct tools in order to really stand up to the system and fight the establishment. And that the only correct tool in this, because of its decentralization, because no one could change the rules to benefit themselves, is Bitcoin. That's the only one that exists. And it's only Bitcoin that you take in self-custody. That is the revolution. You buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, you put it into self-custody. If enough of us do it, we win. That's it. It's as simple as that. They won't be able to debase your wealth, and they won't be able to confiscate it from you, especially on a mass scale. They won't be able to do it. Completely changes the balance of power. The elites are fucked. They don't have special privileges like they do in the fiat system. They don't have a government to call. They don't have someone to bail them out. That's what we're fighting for as Bitcoiners, right? if you use the system, eventually the system is gonna, they're gonna cut corners because it doesn't like getting screwed over. So anyways, guys, it's gonna be a hell of a show. Really excited for it. But before we jump into it, I do want to give a very special shout out to our lead sponsor. And of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin Well. Bitcoin Well is the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. What is automatic self-custody? That means that when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, it literally goes directly to your self-custody Bitcoin address, which perfectly aligns with the Simply Bitcoin ethos of the separation of money and state. To get started, head over to bitcoinwell.com today, put in your email address, and you can start your journey to enable your independence with the fastest and safest way to buy Bitcoin in Canada and the USA. There's a clear 1% spread. It's Bitcoin only. And of course, it's completely non-custodial, empowering sovereign ownership with free automatic self-custody. Also, if you're a Bitcoin Well customer, every time you buy Bitcoin, you earn something called Bitcoin Well points, which I'm going to show you how to use in a second because I got logged out. But you go to your Bitcoin Well rewards. And every time, like I said, every time you buy Bitcoin, you earn these points. You click on redeem. You click this. It's going to give you this really cool kind of quote thing. You're being transported back to 1996. And Space Jam is bringing together basketball and cartoons. Enable your independence by wishing for more sats. It might just come true. And you're going to click on redeem 500
Wait.
points.
Don't do it yet, Nico. Hold on. Because guys, you can win a million sats, and if we get a million sats, I'm going to take them.
And okay, we got 500 sats. So what you could do is you can pull out your Lightning wallet. You could scan the QR code on your screen, and the first person that does it is going to be the one that claims it. I'll do it one more time. You're being transported back to 1993, and Jurassic Park is thrilling all audiences worldwide. Enable your independence by wishing for more sats. It might just come true. We're going to redeem it. Flick the coin into the wishing well, and won another 500 sats. So the first two people that claim those are your 500 sats. Again, you can earn these points every time you buy Bitcoin on bitcoinwell.com. Support self-custody by default Bitcoin on-ramps. All right, everybody, let's hit the numbers.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, I made it incredibly easy for you guys. You could scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Stamp Seed website where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off. All right, everybody. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $70,980. Sats per dollar, 1,409. Block height, 846,911. Blocks to halving, 203,089. Halving estimate, March 25th, 2028. Total Lightning Network capacity, 4,765 Bitcoin. Capacity value, 338 million. Realized monetary inflation, 1.61%. Market capitalization, 1.4 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 8.62%. The grand scheme of things, we're just getting started. Anyways, I have two videos for you guys. And I think it's a representation of people feeling the pain all over the country, and why GameStop and these alternatives are becoming so popular. I think people inherently know something is wrong with the system. They can't afford anything. What is the role of government in my life? Are they making my life better? Because these politicians, they promise you the world, and all of a sudden things just keep continuing to get more expensive. There reaches a point where people ask the question, like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Like, I'm getting duped, I'm getting scammed, and I'm starting to see these videos more and more and more. But again, there's a solution to, excuse me, his problem and her problem. And the solution is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a get rich quick scheme. It's a not get poor scheme. That's all it is. Like, over time, your wealth and your work is valued at what it should actually be valued at. That's all Bitcoin does. Life shouldn't get progressively more expensive. You shouldn't have to earn more and more money. You shouldn't have to work harder and harder, especially if you're working for sound money. If you're working for a money that someone else can't create for free. So here's Walker America. He says, if I don't pay you $700, I go to jail. What is slavery then? So let's check this out.
I got a bill today from the IRS for $700, and I'm gonna explain to the IRS why I don't fucking have it. First off, everyone that is inside of the federal government, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, I don't give a fuck. If you work up there, it's your fault. All of you have decided that printing money and destroying the economy is just totally fucking okay. A bag of Doritos went from $2 to $12 in 2 years, and you want money from me for doing that? On top of that, I don't have any money because you're taking 60% of what I make through my LLC and absolutely crushing small businesses. And on top of that, the only reason I'm a small business is because during the imagination period of the flu scare of 2019 until fucking forever, I guess, you mandated that I take an imagination shot that I didn't need and no one knew anything about. And if I didn't take it, you took my fucking career away from me. You took my ability to feed my child. You took that away from me. And for 2 years, I have sold t-shirts in parking lots, and I have worked this dead-end job at a gun store, and I have cut trees and mowed lawns and done anything I could. Everything I had to do just to feed my child. Not vacations, not new clothes, not a new truck, not thriving in my life, not living in my life, just surviving day to day. And if I don't pay you $700, I go to jail. What is slavery then?
I mean, like, here's another one.
What to do anymore? And at the risk of looking like some whiny, pathetic person, this is just unsustainable. I'm a dance teacher. I work from September until June, generally the school year. And even with a career, I don't have enough money to pay my rent. I don't have enough money to buy groceries every week. And now that it's summertime, I'm looking for a part-time job and I can't find one. I have put in over 30 applications with a brand new resume that I have updated, fluffed up.
Okay.
I don't know.
So a couple things here. And this is a very serious conversation because those are hardcore videos. You can look at this different ways, right? You can look at it from the way of clearly they're not working hard enough. Clearly they've made wrong decisions. That's their fault. You can look at it that way. The other way of looking at it is clearly these people need help. Clearly the government needs to step in and, provide these people with help and assurance. I would say both those outlooks are, one is partly correct. You can make the case for that. The other one is just exacerbating an already bad problem. So what is the actual solution to this? When I got into Bitcoin, I was working a minimum wage job and I was living on my friend's couch. It's 2016. I've worked really hard. I dropped out of college, so I don't have a professional kind of background and whatever. I will tell you, I can guarantee you that my life has progressively gotten cheaper because I've been living on a Bitcoin standard. I've seen this not only in my life, but also Optis, people around me that have adopted a Bitcoin standard, their lives have gotten cheaper. It's not a cheat, it is a cheat code, but it doesn't save you from the hard work. It doesn't save you from, it's not like you buy Bitcoin and then all of a sudden the next day, everything's going to be great. And people always ask me that, and my response is always, it takes 4 years to realize you made a good decision, because that's the full halving cycle. It takes really 8 years to start feeling the true benefits. And then I'm not on year 12, so I can't tell you what that feels like. But just based on the people that have been here 12 years and the length of their beards and the length of like, I don't really give a fuck, I'm assuming, they're in a good place. Spiritually and economically. So this guy's frustrated as hell, rightly so. This is where we are failing as a community, because he's not even aware that this is an option. Because I promise you that if he was working that hard and he put like a little bit of money into Bitcoin, like a percentage of his whatever, he would be ahead. Like he would be able to pay for things around him, because everything gets progressively cheaper on a Bitcoin standard. You don't even need to grow your stack. Like you can literally buy $50, forget about it, come back 10 years, and it's going to be a lot higher than what it was in terms of fiat purchasing power. So we have a lot of work to do, because there's a lot of people like that. And it's not only in the US, it's all over the world. And they're in that similar situation. And the worst thing that people like him, people like her can do is now Nico's working a minimum wage job and sleeping on his own couch. Exactly. Boom. So the worst thing that people could do is just pray to politicians. They're the ones that caused it. You have to understand that. Like it wasn't the pandemic that closed everything down. It was governments that closed everything down, and it was governments that decided to print all that money, which doubled the cost of housing and made everything that much more expensive. An unintended consequence of these central planners thinking that they can centrally plan themselves out of everything because they have the ability to create money out of thin air. It's not politicians that are going to save you. It's you that's going to save yourself by taking a little bit of personal responsibility, buying a Bitcoin, earning Bitcoin, mining Bitcoin, and then taking that Bitcoin into self-custody. And then I promise you, your life will get progressively better over time. You will start to have hope for the future. It's not a question of will you be able to afford things. It's how long do I have to work, and how long do I have to wait in order for me to be able to afford my first home, in order for me to be able to afford my first car. It's not a question of, am I going to be able to afford this? It's a question of how long do I have to work until I'm able to afford this? Like someone says in the chat, fiat destroys lives, 100%. And what you're seeing there is just people destroyed by the system, and they don't know where to point that frustration. And this is where people like Roaring Kitties, like it's like, that's a manifestation of people's frustration, but they're not using the correct tools. And it has nothing to do with, oh, I missed the boat with Bitcoin or whatever. I didn't get in 2013. I didn't get in 2020. I bought Bitcoin over 10K. I didn't get Bitcoin at 1,000. I didn't get Bitcoin at 5,000. Has nothing to do with that. You're just adopting a better money. You're adopting a better monetary unit that isn't stealing your energy. Like that, it's as simple as that. Like even with, you put the gains and you put the multiples and you put all of that aside, you're just adopting superior money. And those types of issues that those people are experiencing, specifically the first guy, like literally he's describing how broken and corrupt the system is. And then the system is coming to me. It's like, okay, first you debase the currency. Then you create this like hostile environment for my business to thrive. And now you're basically taxing me. What the fuck is going on? Right. And that is the question that I have to you guys is, and this is the theory from the sovereign individual is, are you really getting in return what you are paying in taxes every single year? Are you getting a benefit for that? And I'm not talking about direct income tax. I'm talking about the inflation tax. Are you getting the benefits of that? I don't think anyone is. I don't think anyone has agreed to the inflation tax. I don't think anyone has agreed to the debasement tax. You can make the argument that, okay, we need we need an income tax because we want equality, we need to pay for things. I don't agree with that argument, but you can make the argument. They don't make an argument for inflation. Why does inflation, like, if people actually knew how it worked, I don't think people would agree to it. So we're basically mandated, we're forced by the state in order to use the money that steals from us, and we have to pay them a portion of our income. I remember seeing the meme, and Opti, you're going to be familiar with it, which is like back in ancient Egypt, the pharaohs would make the slaves pay them like 20% of their income. And like now, like the top income bracket's like 39%. But Biden wants to move it to like 44, like the capital gains, like and it's and this is why I always say to you guys, this is part of like one of the main theories of the show, main themes of the show, better said, Bitcoin or slavery. Like, it's literally slavery. Like, he is describing slavery. She's describing, look, why do you have to be a sophisticated investor in order to maintain your purchasing power? Why do you have to be a sophisticated investor in order for you to get wealthy? Why can't you just hone in on your craft, make money on your craft, and just put that money away for a rainy day? Why do you have to be forced to invest in real estate and stocks and this just to get ahead, or better said, just to maintain where you're at? That is insane. Like, that is crazy. And, you get people that are frustrated. And then, and eventually, like, what's going to happen when the majority of the population starts to feel that way? Like, history has many examples of countries that went through very similar frustrations in terms of their economic situations. And let's just say, like, things didn't end very well, right? That's literally one of the reasons World War II started, right? So anyways, I mean, Opti, those videos were intense, bro. Like, that first one really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, that first guy, he's my spirit animal. I absolutely love that guy. I wish I could rent like that on my cell phone. That'd be great. And I don't mean to laugh at the guy, because I think this is a very real feeling that a lot of people are feeling. And, my heart goes out to that girl, because I've been seeing a lot of videos of people saying very similar things. And it kind of goes back to what I always say on the show. Human psychology is very interesting. And until you really feel the pain, then you don't search for solutions. You're kind of just like sleepwalking. And most people have been psyoped, or rather brainwashed, or whatever verb or I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's verb. I forget my grammar here. Been psyoped or brainwashed into believing that if they follow the rules, they play by the game of the rules, and they can get ahead in life. And it's becoming very clear, at least to me personally, and probably to everyone in the chat, like, right now you kind of have to do the crazy thing to get ahead. And for most people, that crazy thing is just like going all in on Bitcoin. But as we constantly show, and bring the receipts on the show, like, Bitcoin, if you hold Bitcoin long enough and you save in Bitcoin, you live below your means, you put your excess profits into Bitcoin, like, your life gets better. And Nico was talking about before he got into Bitcoin, he was on his friend's couch. Like, I was at my parents' house. Like, I was literally in my mom's basement. And now, because of Bitcoin and because of just providing value and upping my skills, like, I have a whole new lease on life. And this kind of goes to what Nico and I say here on the show all the time. And I think these videos are a good culmination of everything we're saying. And it's a visual example of what we say. It's fiat is a world of pessimism and nihilism. It's literally number go down technology. And Bitcoin is a world of positivity and optimism and hope. Like, Bitcoin is hope. And fiat, like I said, fiat is number go down, money tech. Bitcoin is number go up, money tech. And this is why we Bitcoin, because we have a better worldview. We're trying to get healthier. We're trying to get financially sound. And when you build on a Bitcoin standard on your personal level, like, your life gets better. And I fundamentally boil everything down to a very simple axiom, a very simple meme. If people just want to live a good life, and our job is to try to show people that life on a Bitcoin standard, life saving in Bitcoin, is better than the status quo right now, which is the fiat world. And I think this is only going to escalate. We're only going to see more people start to complain on social media. Now, we could argue about whether, like, they should be arguing on social media or whatever, making those posts. Like, that's a totally different conversation. The point is, a lot of people are starting to feel helpless, especially now in like America or the first world. You know, we got brought up with the idea that like we live in the best country. And now most people can barely survive now. And we're all wondering, like, what is going on? And again, it goes back to what we've been saying on the show a lot in the last couple of weeks, is that I don't know if I'd say necessarily that the empire is like completely dead, but the faith in the institutions is crumbling and people are starting to feel that pain. And it's because they printed, I forget what the number is now, but since 2020, they printed, I think at now it's like 50 to 60% of all dollars that were ever in existence. Like, no wonder everything's more expensive. No wonder everything costs twice as much now. It's because they completely decimated the dollar, the purchasing power of the dollar. And we're just supposed to take it. Like, I mean, look, I'm a first generation American. And the founding fathers revolted for much less than 30% of all of your money coming in. They revolted on a 3% T-tax. Like, we need to go back to the founding fathers ethos here, because we're literally tax slaves in this system. And I think more people are waking up to the idea that like this system is not set up for us. It's actually one of two things. It's either set up in a specific way to ensure that you can never get ahead, or it is broken. Now you can decide which side of the aisle you are on. So the system's either working exactly as designed and, you know, keeping you in your place, or it's not working for the majority of people anymore. And that's what we constantly show on the show. Like, there's a better option. It is Bitcoin. Save in Bitcoin, work hard, get fit, focus on the things you love, and save in Bitcoin, and your life's going to get better. It's literally that simple.
Amen to that. I also want to give a shout out to Jaimecito. Appreciate the $2, man. Thank you so much. I do want to give a very special shout out to our sponsor. And of course, I'm talking about the Pleb Party that's happening in Nashville, Tennessee. You can opt to pull up. Thank you, sir. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or you can check the link in the video/podcast description. It'll take you directly to the Eventbrite page where you can get yourself some tickets. I think the $200 price points is the last time you'll be able to get those. There's only like 30, 40 tickets left at that price point. Once the tickets sell out, you won't be able to buy them at the door. Over 1,000 Bitcoin plebs are expected. It's a 12-hour open bar from noon to midnight. Pleb Party in Nashville the day before the Bitcoin 2024 conference, Thursday, July 25th. Confirmed attendees include Larry Lepard, Preston Pish, the entire Simply Bitcoin crew, James Lavish, Robert Breedlove, Mark Moss, Pubby, Tatum Turnip, and Adam O'Brien. Many other Bitcoiners are expected to attend. It's going to be hosted at an amazing rustic automobile factory from 1910 with brick walls and tons of proof of work atmosphere. You don't want to miss one of the best Bitcoin parties of the year, the day before the Bitcoin 2024 conference. Definitely don't want to miss the Pleb Party. Scan the QR code or check the link in the video description. All right, everybody, let's hit the news. Lots to talk about.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. Remember, I literally went like on a tangent. Self-custody is the revolution. Self-custody is how you fix things. Self-custody will make your life better. So you want to take your Bitcoin into self-custody. You don't want to outsource that responsibility to an exchange, or God forbid you buy the Bitcoin ETF for whatever reason. You shouldn't be doing that, especially if you're watching the show. Buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, put it into self-custody. Your life will improve. I promise you. Scan the QR code, get yourself a Passport by Foundation Devices hardware wallet. So you guys all know how Microstrategy has absolutely killed it since they adopted a Bitcoin strategy since August 10, 2020. They did basically a 10x, which is absolutely crazy. And of course, Bitcoin has outperformed every other company or asset, including the S&P 500, including NASDAQ, including gold, including the big tech stocks, including the enterprise software stocks. So it's just been a superior asset. Here's James Lavish. He says, Bitcoin and the ETFs, yes, the institutions are here, but not many of them, and not yet in size. And here we are bouncing around just below the all-time highs. I think that's a really good point. Now, what's really interesting about this is we were wondering for a very long time why no other company has followed in Michael Saylor's footsteps. And now it seems like the dam is starting to break. And that first company, the name of the company was SEMLER Scientific. So they made a really good case, and they came out with a post as to the reasoning as to why they were adopting Bitcoin as a treasury asset. And they said that it was superior to gold, that had a lot of potential. And then make no mistake, a week or two after they did that, they made this announcement, dropped 7 hours ago, that they plan to raise $150 million to buy more Bitcoin. Medical device maker SEMLER Scientific acquires 247 more Bitcoin and plans to raise $150 million to further expand its Bitcoin treasury holdings following Microstrategy's lead. And that's absolutely fascinating. Now, why are they doing that? Well, I mean, it's obvious. And you don't even know what company is SEMLER Scientific, but I promise you that because they've adopted Bitcoin into their treasury, they're going to start outperforming a lot of these companies just because people are going to buy the stock because they realize, oh, this company's holding Bitcoin and Bitcoin's going to the moon. And that's the realization. Like that's the thing that like these companies haven't woken up to this. Like they're holding bonds, they're holding dollars. Dollars is like holding onto a melting ice cube, but they haven't realized like the superior asset that is Bitcoin. Now, what's really interesting is that they're using the debt-based system, they're using the fiat system, they're using the pre-existing system as a way to kind of leverage it to raise more fake dollars, really, to buy something that is absolutely scarce. And in the process, I really call it a speculative attack on fiat using the very system of fiat itself, right? Here's Jimmy Song, and he wrote an incredible post for you guys regarding the quote-unquote speculative attack on the dollar. This is originally posted on stacker.news.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Nico?
Yeah, absolutely. So he goes on to say, is a speculative attack on USD coming soon? If it does, it's going to be crazy sight to see. Every institution that can borrow will and essentially short the dollar by going long Bitcoin. Did you hear that? This, again, was written March 1st, 2021. This article dropped 7 hours ago. We know that Michael Saylor has already adopted this, and now it seems like another company is following in its footsteps. Now, what happens? I'm going to ask you guys this question, and it's such an incredibly obvious answer, but I'm going to ask it to you. I'm going to ask you guys anyways. What happens when this company that no one knows, like no one knows what this company was before. No one knew what MicroStrategy was before. No, that stock was going sideways forever. Okay? No one knew who they were. What happened as soon as they adopted a Bitcoin strategy? They outperformed everyone else. And now my question to you is, do you think that MicroStrategy has provided that much more value than something like Apple, something like Google, something like Microsoft, something like Meta, something like Netflix, something like Amazon? I think they've adopted a superior asset. That's all it is, right? So what happens when this company starts to outperform everyone else on the stock market? What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to start asking questions like, wait a second, like, why the fuck are we holding dollars? Like these like companies that no one knows is outperforming everything just by the mere fact of holding Bitcoin. Why don't we do that? That is the speculative attack. And the best part is that they're able to leverage their stock valuation going up in order to borrow more money so that they can buy even more, they can buy more Bitcoin. It's like this never-ending feedback loop of this infinite money glitch. using the very system itself against itself in order to go long Bitcoin, like Jimmy Song said. So it goes on to say the dollar will begin hyperinflating, and there will be a lot of unhappy rent seekers that will want some blood. It may in the end create calls for a CBDC to control the lending/printing of money, which is currently in the hands of too many banking institutions. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start from the godfather of the speculative attack, Micheal Saylor. For those with assets, loans are really easy to get. In a fiat economy, loans have no opportunity cost, so banking institutions are incentivized to lend as much money as possible to qualified borrowers. More loans, more interest payments, more profit. And the rich borrow a lot. Loans are how cantillionaires stay rich. They use the newly printed money to invest in all sorts of stuff, and as long as their investment returns higher than the minuscule interest rate from the bank, they come out ahead. Sometimes many multiples. Using these loans to buy Bitcoin is what we call a speculative attack on the dollar. That's essentially what Micheal Saylor has done with every kind of loan he can get. He used unsecured loans, secured loans, the stock issuance, among other things, to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. I'm sure he'd take out more loans if he could, and I have no doubt in my mind he's looking into more ways to add more to the incredible Bitcoin position he has. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not only Micheal Saylor anymore. I can't emphasize how historic this is. Now you have another company that is literally attacking the dollar using the very system itself. And this is going to escape like a runaway train when all these companies start to realize, holy shit, we can make our stocks perform like this. All we have to do is buy Bitcoin. And then when our stock valuations go up, we can just borrow against our stock going up and buy even more Bitcoin with that borrowed money. And imagine 5-10 companies doing this. Do you think that is that sustainable? This is why it's called a speculative attack on the dollar. Anyways, it goes on to say, what's going to be even crazier is that he will soon be able to use that Bitcoin itself as collateral. Wall Street isn't that comfortable with this idea yet, but at some point they're going to, because there's too much free money in it for them. And then the real leverage games can begin. He's in deep profit on his Bitcoin position, and as the price goes up, there will be more loans available. But at least at the moment, banks aren't loaning with Bitcoin as collateral just yet. As such, he has to wait for more stock issuance to buy more Bitcoin. With almost 1% of all Bitcoin in his treasury, that's a lot of demand for his stock, and with additional issuances, the market knows he'll buy more BTC. As a result, he can keep issuing stock and buying Bitcoin this until he's saturated market demand. The result is that Microstrategy now trades like a 2x long Bitcoin ETF. But here's where it gets fun. What happens when there's no more room? There are more companies besides Microstrategy that use this strategy. That's already happened. That's happened already. It's not a question anymore. That's not a theory. It's happened. You already have one. Many soon will follow, because this is going to happen to their stock, especially if they get big exposures to Bitcoin. Anyways, goes on to say, you really just need one more CEO with this level of conviction to take this strategy to the next level. It's already happened. The stock returns have been so insanely high that some company will mimic it. Heck, even someone that doesn't have a company right now could perhaps buy up a small cap stock with some cash on its balance sheet, buy Bitcoin with it, and then issue more shares to buy even more Bitcoin. It would be slower, of course, but there's no reason why it won't work. The key is a large cash position and a way to get lots of debt. This hypothetical alternative to MicroStrategy would have to have some differentiation, of course, and perhaps they'd use more or less leverage than MicroStrategy. For that matter, could we see a mining infrastructure company go in the direction? Keep lots of Bitcoin on their balance sheet and use USD to mine more? If the treasuries in BTC and the acquisition strategy is mining, then it could very well use its line of credit to become something like MicroStrategy, only a bit more related to energy production. How about one of these zombie companies? A visionary CEO could turn a zombie company into a living one by making it into a Bitcoin substitute. A company like IBM has lots of assets to get loans with. Use those assets to buy Bitcoin on the treasury. It can quickly become another stock that's a store of value. Speaking of which, the reason MicroStrategy is doing so well is because it's taking the store of value premium away from other stocks. Stocks have functioned as the de facto store of value for a long time. The premium now is leaking towards something that holds its value better. The presence of Bitcoin on the balance sheet turns the store of value premium in these stocks into Bitcoin substitutes. And it really won't take many companies to do these things for the entire market to expand USD and complete the monetization of Bitcoin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is happening. And you want to know what GameStop should be doing now that they got so much cash, now that their stock is going to the moon, if they no longer want to be a zombie company? You know what would really break things? They should just buy Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. That's what GameStop should do. And then all of a sudden, it's not a zombie company anymore. Like, they're not going to go out of business. They become, like Jimmy Song said, like they become a store of value. That's what it is. And what's really interesting also is the premium aspect. And that's something that we don't talk enough about, right? And that's something that people don't really understand, is that everything around you, like whether it's real estate or stocks, the reason that they're as elevated as they are is because people have been using them as mechanisms to escape inflation, to outpace inflation. Things shouldn't work like that. Like a house shouldn't be seen as an investment, but it is right now because of how broken the system is fundamentally. And that's what Bitcoin ultimately fixes. Like this is like one of those things where you can truly say Bitcoin fixes this. And that theoretical case that Jimmy made is no longer just a theoretical. Now it's real. It's super real because another company has followed in the steps of MicroStrategy. They made a major announcement, and within a week, they came to the realization that Micheal Saylor did, which is, holy shit, we can borrow against our company to buy even more Bitcoin and create this never-ending feedback loop. Now, let's see if they get the loan, but if they do, and 6 months from now, their stock goes higher, I guarantee you that another company that you've never heard of, that's publicly traded, that stock's been going sideways for many years, is going to say, holy shit, like, let's get rich. Let's follow this. This is working, right? And then I think all hell breaks loose, which we can't like really imagine right now, but I guarantee you it's going to happen. I guarantee you this is going to happen. Within the next 5 to 10 years, as soon as you hear Google, Facebook, Apple, Tesla already has Bitcoin, or any of these companies publicly announce like, hey, holy shit, we're buying Bitcoin, we're putting it on its balance sheet, and we're doing this as an alternative to holding dollars. And then all of a sudden that stock starts to outperform all the other tech stocks that haven't adopted that strategy. They're at a disadvantage and they're going to follow in the footsteps. So, this is crazy. Like, this is a game changer, 100%. And I don't think people are bullish enough for this upcoming cycle because this is really the cycle of institutions. And we, like 7 years ago, I never forget, I always say this, 2017, the cope was, bro, the institutions are coming, man. It's going to pump the price back up. And we dropped from like 20K to like 3,500. And that was one of the coping mechanisms that we used to try to make ourselves feel better. But in reality, they weren't even close. They weren't even close. The institutional game started as soon as the ETF was approved in January. Everything changed that moment. As soon as BlackRock put its stamp of approval and said, this is a legitimate asset for institutions to hold, everything changed. And Micheal Saylor came early. If you came in before 2020, you outpaced Micheal Saylor. Obviously, he has a lot more purchasing power, but you were first. And if you were before January, you were before the institution. So you front ran, like we always say here at Simply, Wall Street. And usually it's Wall Street that front runs everyone, Main Street. But in Bitcoin's case, it's the complete opposite. Bitcoin is the peaceful revolution. Bitcoin is the rage against the machine. Bitcoin is the real GameStop movement. And because people haven't woken up to that, that presents an opportunity to you. If Bitcoin was the mainstream thing, if Bitcoin and a Bitcoiner were getting like 600,000 people watching him live shit on GameStop, then the opportunity wouldn't be there for you anymore, right? So I think people are going to wake up to this as Bitcoin continues to shine. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this, brother?
Oh man, good. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with what you were saying. Totally agree. And it's something that I think we're all, as Bitcoiners, once you've been around long enough and you really understand the problems of not only the traditional financial world, but of fiat money in particular, you realize that everyone has the same problem. Whether you're a corporation, an individual, a nation state, even the banks and the central bankers, we all have the same problem. There is nothing to store value in because they can print as much fiat money as possible. And any hard asset, anything with real value is, of course, going to seemingly go up because of the value of the dollar. The purchasing power of your fiat currencies are getting debased. So it looks like everything's going up. And once you realize this game, once you realize the mechanism of the game and you start to look for alternatives, then eventually all roads lead to Bitcoin. And man, I've been joking about this for a while on the show that I wish we at Simply Bitcoin basically had free loans, because we'd be taking out a shit tons of money to stack Bitcoin as a company. Like if we had the Saylor plan where you're basically getting, you know, billions of dollars for free on a 6-year loan and you stack that into Bitcoin, like it's basically printing free money. Like it's the infinite money glitch. And it's a speculative attack on the dollar or fiat currencies, no matter how you dress it up. So people can say whatever they want, you know, like, oh, this is just good for our balance sheet. But once you really understand the game theory, you understand that people really are starting to catch on to the game that, oh my God, I can basically take out as much of this paper currency, these IOUs, this government debt, and I can stack it into something that cannot be debased. Like anyone that thinks clearly and can kind of zoom out a little bit from what is the status quo realizes that this is the game being played. Like this is the only game in town. Because Nico, I don't know if you saw, but we just got, this happened the beginning of the week. We just got news that China dumped 50 billion of US treasuries. Yep. And if they continue at this rate, they will be completely out of U.S. treasuries by 2026. That's 2 years from now. So everyone is waking up to the idea that the dollar or U.S. treasury,
it's faith in the U.S. government.
Exactly.
Like they're like, holy shit! Like these guys are spending like fucking crazy. Oh, yeah. And not only that, right? So China, you're right. They're dumping U.S. treasuries. They're stocking gold. Right.
Yes.
But it was Saudi Arabia that didn't sign up to the petrodollar deal anymore. Yep. So for anyone who's not in the know, back in the 70s, Saudi Arabia, major supplier of the world's oil supply, or major supplier to the world in terms of oil, they've basically had a deal with the U.S. government. The U.S. government would provide defense and weapons and all that. And in return, Saudi Arabia would only sell oil to other countries in the dollar. So it created the situation where you wanted to buy oil, it had to be in dollars, right? Saudi Arabia basically said, no, we're not doing that anymore, right? So you don't have to use dollars to buy oil anymore. Now let's see what happens, right? The market's going to decide, not a government. But I find that interesting too. So clearly in 10 years, is the US government going to continue to have the ability to spend this crazy, absurd amount? Look, last year, 2023, $1.7 trillion. They spent more than they collected in tax revenue. Deficit spending. Where did they get that money? That's the GDP of most countries on planet Earth, just to kind of give you an idea. El Salvador has a GDP of 35 billion. The US government spent 1.7 trillion with the T, just to kind of give you an idea of how much money it is. And the only reason that the United States is not like Argentina in terms of its inflation situation is because of the fact that it's the world reserve currency. So it has this unique ability to just keep spending all this money because everyone is holding dollars all around the world. That's the case now. Is that going to be the case 5-10 years from now? I don't know. But what I will say is that if you're in the US, you benefit tremendously from living in a country that is the world reserve currency. When that party ends, you better hope you own Bitcoin. You read that book, Odell was talking about it all the time, Mandibles, right? Like, dude, if things will get bad, like really bad. The government's not going to be able to pay for things like they used to, like the infighting, the tension. Look at the political atmosphere now. Do you think that's unrelated to what happened in 2008? Look at how that person felt in that first video, how charged, how heated he is. There's a big portion of the population that feel the way he does. We can't afford housing. We can't afford these things. It's not our fault, right? Creates a very interesting situation, to say the least. Anyways, I do want to
Nico, before we go on though, I just want to add something to what you said. Is at first people will go into gold because they're so used to it, and eventually they're going to end up on Bitcoin, like SEMLER, Microstrategy. And once we see the corporations all do this, like Omega Candle coming.
Amen to that. All right, everybody. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Orange Pill app, the Bitcoin social layer. Stack friends who stack sats. Find local Bitcoiners, events, and merchants near you. Join the 10,485 Bitcoiners that are currently on the app. It has a really clever geographical feature, so you'll only find Bitcoiners near you, around you. It's really cool. It has a clever filtration system, so you'll only find Bitcoiners on the app. If you move to a new city, you can pull up the Orange Pill app. It will literally tell you who's around you, who's near you. It's a great way. It's probably a good idea to build up that Bitcoin Rolodex. I truly believe that Bitcoiners are going to be some of the most powerful, influential people in the next 5 to 10 years. So make friends in Bitcoin. And a great way to do it is the Orange Pill app. It's also one of the best ways to reach me directly. Send me a DM on the Orange Pill app. All right, everybody. I do want to transition to the culture. Lots to talk about.
The Daily Culture.
I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, KABOOMRACKS, the most trusted place to buy, sell, and host mining equipment. You can check out their racks by scanning the QR code or checking the link in the video description, and it'll take you directly to their Telegram marketplace where you can connect with a member of their sales team. They make purchasing their products easy and transparent. You could also sell your mining equipment with them, access their vast network of domestic and international customers when you sell your mining equipment with KABOOMRACKS. So also, you could scan the QR code right now. It'll take you directly to their special deal that's going on right now. They're offering instant hosting for their S19 Pro 120 terahashes. There's a one-time payment of $2,466 plus $160 per month thereafter. You own the miner. This is not a hash rate contract, and your hash rate goes online right after your payment is confirmed. So if you want to start instant hosting, you can check out the special deal by KABOOMRACKS, and also the most trusted place to buy, sell, and host mining equipment. This is where I personally buy my Bitcoin mining ASIC. So check out KABOOMRACKS today. All right, man, I'm really excited about today's episode because Nayib Bukele had a phenomenal interview with the most popular broadcaster on the planet, Tucker Carlson. It seems like you have a clip pulled up of it, Opti.
Yeah. So just giving some context, this is the culture. And what we want to do here is not only feature Bitcoin culture, but also have some social commentary on things that are happening outside of Bitcoin. And I highly recommend everyone go watch this interview. Send it to your friends and family. I'm going to try to force my parents to watch this because I think it's kind of a masterclass of what's going on. I watched it a few times. I did take a couple notes, guys, but I think I picked the best part of that clip. That it's only 2 minutes. But I wanted to highlight a few different things that Nayib was saying throughout this whole interview. And, you may agree with some of it, you may not, and that's the beauty of the show. But I put some timestamps here. So at the 3-minute mark, Nayib Bukele goes, you can't do anything if you don't have peace. You need basic rights respected before you could even get to peace, or you need the basic rights respected to get peace. Around the 9-minute part, which was very interesting, that, I've never heard any politician probably said this, that they praise for wisdom and that their whole cabinet, their whole people in office, they all believe in God, which is very interesting considering what's going on. And I know you guys might disagree there. At the 15-minute mark, which I thought was a very powerful quote, he goes, there is a spiritual war and there's a physical war. If you win the spiritual war, it will reflect into the physical war. I absolutely love that. At the 20-minute mark is where Nayib Bukele responded to the condemnation, the hate he got from the human rights organizations out there. And he was surprised that people cared more about the criminals' rights rights than the honest citizens' rights, which is very interesting considering what's going on in the world. And it kind of makes you think of what we've been saying in the beginning, that maybe we're at a point where the laws aren't actually helping the everyday person out there. At the 33-minute mark, Nayib Bukele says something we say all the time on this show, that the incentives are wrong, that the incentives are broken, and this is why the system is eroding. At the 43-minute mark, he talked about the money printer, about the U.S. having unlimited resources because of the money printer, and yet we're still extremely inefficient. What's going on here? And the part that I'm going to bring up is at the 48-minute mark. It says that the U.S. has everything, and yet it's still crumbling. Why? And this is the part that I want to play. And then the last part, which I thought was very interesting, was at the 59-minute mark. Nayib Bukele was commenting on this politician trying to micromanage the art in El Salvador and just being completely out of touch with the people. Anyways, I'm sure you'll find some more highlights throughout this whole clip, but I wanted to bring on a few things. And the reason we wanted to bring this on again is to talk about cultural commentary. But in this clip right here, I think Nayib Bukele completely sums up what we say on the show every single day about the system, about where the U.S. place is in it, and whether there's still hope for America. And I know we're American-centric and our audience is global, but I think Nayib Bukele just absolutely nails it on this. It's about a minute or two. It is at 1.25 because that's just how my brain works. So let's listen to this.
Opti the screen.
Oh.
You have workers. You have blue collar workers. You have trains. You know, actually.
Killed that. It absolutely killed that speech. And it's something, again, that's why I wanted to give the context of some of the stuff he was talking about. But it really boils down to what we say all the time. And I even said it earlier in the show. It's either that the system is designed this way or the system is going completely awry because of the incentives. And of course, we at Simply Bitcoin always think if you align the incentives, you get on better money, you start using a money that you can't debase. And actually, there was a very good part in that whole conversation. Again, I recommend you guys watch the whole thing, where he talks about the incentive structures of being a politician. And you don't have to necessarily call them evil, but if you have a money printer behind you, then of course, you're basically going to be buying votes. Yep. And then once you take that power away, you start to align the incentive structure. And as someone that, fixed their country in 3 years, like, it carries a lot more weight than when Nico and I say this and we're just YouTubers and Bitcoiners over here. Like, he's done it. Yes, they still have to ensure that this goes on longer than Nayib Bukele being there, but it all boils down to the same thing. The incentive structures of the world, in the first world, in America, in the EU, it's either completely broken or it is designed this way. And we do need new solutions, and we need new ideas. And I think Nayib Bukele just absolutely destroyed the narrative, the FUD lines, all of the hate he's been getting. And I didn't double check here, but last time I saw, okay, so it's at 6.6 million views. Like, that is breaking the echo chamber. This is how you get these ideas across. And I'm going to be spreading this to all my friends, or rather more of my families, because my friends don't really care. But I want my mom and my dad to listen to this, because I think it's a very great way of being objective here and not falling into the left and right paradigm. It is a battle of orange versus green. Some might say good versus evil, but it's all about the incentive structure. And I think Nayib Bukele just absolutely killed it with this interview. Again, go watch it. I watched it twice to give you guys some good, some quotes and taglines here. But anyways, Nico, I know you watched it. What's your takeaway from this?
Dude, so first of all, that is the most popular president in the Americas, right? Yeah. I don't think that's a coincidence that the society that fixed the base layer of society is a peaceful society, right? The president actually does what he's elected to do. I don't think that's a coincidence. I do not think that's a coincidence. I think it's completely related, 100%, because Bitcoin fixes the incentive structure problem, the issue. Washington, D.C. is not incentivized to do good by the country. He said it. Like, America's a superpower, manifest destiny, right? Literally, like, from coast to coast, isolated. has oceans in between, so it can't get attacked by another country, has tremendous amount of natural resources. And why the moral decay of society? Why do you have these, why the fuck is all this happening? Well, it's decadence, number one. And number two, it's the money printer. That's why Bitcoiners say, fix the money, fix the world. And it is, and I love the pact that and I want to be respectful to some of you guys, right? But the part where he said spiritual war, right? There's a spiritual component to Bitcoin. I don't know what it is, but the general trend that I've seen in people is that they adopt a Bitcoin standard and it heals them spiritually in a way. Right? Like fiat, I think degrades the spirit. There's something inherently corrupt about it. And people underestimate how much money plays a role in their lives. Like I think inherently know when we say something like, oh, don't talk about money, it's ugly. They're talking about fiat. Like fiat is ugly. Like it's something very ugly to talk about. Bitcoin is very hopeful to talk about. It's pretty. It's equal, right? Like we talk about Bitcoin every day. We don't get tired of it. We don't feel nasty. We don't feel icky, right? And you kind of see this like degen and this degradation in not only like fiat money, but also in shitcoins. And I think that they have something in common. And look, if you guys are new to this channel, like we're libertarians, you can buy whatever you want. That's up to you. You can buy GameStop, buy Ethereum. That's totally up to you. I don't care, right? But the general trend that I've noticed is on all these things, they can change the rules. They can inflate the supply, therefore debase what you have. Bitcoin, you can't do that. You cannot change the rules to benefit yourself. And that, I think, when you have like an uncorruptible money, it's like the pun is totally intended there. I think good things happen. I think the human condition improves. I think society improves. And I think Bukele is a manifestation, just like Roaring Kitties is a manifestation of the degradation of fiat society. Nayib Bukele is a manifestation of a society on a Bitcoin standard. Full stop. Like, that's what Bukele is. And Roaring Kitties is the exact fucking polar opposite of that. That is full fiat degen manifestation of the corruption to the core of fiat and a system on fiat. Like, it is so crazy to me that there's an infinite fucking money glitch, right? And all these companies are finding out about it. And then the very thing that made the fiat system, this debt-based system, is going to be the demise of the debt-based system because it's being used against it. And how long until they change the rule? Because that's what they love to do. As soon as shit starts going against them, they change the rules to benefit themselves. And what if you don't have the ability to do that anymore? What if you don't have the ability to print money anymore? How is the government going to afford the wars? How are they going to afford that? How are they going to afford the tanks? How are they can't pay for it. You know what happened in the Middle Ages when the king ran out of gold? You know what happened to the armies? They all went home. Isn't that like an indication? It's like, do people actually give a fuck? No, I think human beings are simple. I think human beings want to raise a family, eat good food, have a good time, go home, go to sleep, do it the next day, live a good life. I think we are very simple creatures, but I think fiat gives the power to the absolute psychopaths in society, and it gives them a godlike of power of being able to create money for free that everyone else has to work for. And then they come up with all these fucking insane ideas of endless war. Like, think about the last century. Ron Paul's quote is so resonating, right? It's not a coincidence that the last century was the century of central banking was the bloodiest century in human history. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence that Nayib Bukele is the most popular president and El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender. I don't think it's a coincidence that you have, again, please put the political commentary aside because I can care less, but you have, the current president of the US right now that questionably shot his pants on stage, questionably. I could totally say that because they totally hate Bitcoin, so that's fine. I don't like politicians that hate Bitcoin. But, this is all extremely symbolic. All you got to do is just open your eyes and see the signs. It's right there. I have no doubt in my mind, and I know for a fact Opti's going to agree with me, that we are going through, as the world, this spiritual warfare. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that's what we're going through as a society. And Bitcoin insulates you from the degradation and the corruption of fiat that is inherently connected to the bureaucracy. It's inherently connected to the system. And Bitcoin insulates you from that shit. Anyways, bro, I may be seeing things that are not there, but I'm making a lot of connections, bro.
I agree. I just want to add one thing. And I think when you look at it this way and you compare fiat currencies versus Bitcoin, if you study human behavior and psychology for the history of man, you understand one thing is that human behavior does have to get checked at a certain point. And if you have the infinite power of the money printer, then you can basically get away with anything. You're basically God on earth. And once that power is taken away, then you have to provide value to your fellow man. You're not able to rob people. You're not able to gain ultimate power. And that's what's happening. As Elaine always says in the chat, Bitcoin is money of the natural law. And that's what proof of work is all about. It's aligning our money structures, our financial world back to reality, because right now we're completely untethered with reality. And you're seeing this play out with the politicians. You're seeing this play out with the degradation of our society, of our culture. And Bitcoin will fix this. It's not going to happen overnight. It probably won't happen in just a decade, but it will start to fix this. And you're starting to see this happen. And, like Nayib Bukele in Bitcoin country is a shining example on the hill, as Nico always says. And I could only hope that we could one day get leaders that have the cojones to change the system without being afraid of having, a little bit of pain in the short term. But maybe I'm a little hopeful here. But anyways, Nico, it is Friday, and we're going to get yelled at if we don't do a memes. But I actually enjoyed this, Nico. We're going to have to keep doing some more social commentary on this.
Social commentary is the best. If you guys enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments. We thrive on your feedback, so please let us know if you guys enjoyed it or not. Let's check out the memes.
Opti's Friday meme review.
Roaring Kitties we're taking the mantle back in terms of degen-ness, okay? And the way that Bitcoiners degen is by making memes. So what are we looking at, Opti? What is this? Is that even a meme or is that a piece of art?
Yeah, this is a great meme. It's a little bit of both. It's all memes all the way down. But you guys know the deal. We missed it last week, but we gave you 2 this week, so you can't yell at us too much. But as we always say, you guys are frontline soldiers in the information war, playing out on the internet. Tweets are the bullets, memes are the artillery. Remember to ridicule the corporate press, to shame the politicians and central bankers into trying to get you into a digital dystopia, and make some funny so your friends' heads stay in the game, but also get the calls of action out there. Bitcoin is hope. And I don't know, I speak in memes, and sometimes memes just hit me in the feels, guys. But I'm going to cover these memes. Drop your meme score in the chat. The meme score is a meme in itself. But anyways, I really like Alan B. Watts' tweets recently. He's been doing a great job, and I absolutely love it. So yes, this looks like a piece of art, Nico. It looks like, I don't know if this is Greek. It looks like it's a Greek structure, and there's like maybe a dude. Yeah, it's like, is he holding Bitcoin on top of his head? He's got laser eyes. Anyways, and this is why I brought it up. This is a tweet. Save in Bitcoin and focus on your craft. This is what we said on the whole show. And this is what everyone is starting to wake up to, that you don't have to become a financial advisor to survive in today's day and age. All you have to do is provide value to your fellow man and save in Bitcoin and, live a good life.
Save and earn in Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Save and earn in Bitcoin.
Okay. This next one is just absolutely incredible because this is me and Nico all week. Shout shouts out to Ghost of Whitman on Twitter, and it goes hashtag BTC, we're back. And we got Nico over here just dejected, just absolutely destroyed. You know, we've been saying all week we're bored of this price movement.
Dude,
anyways,
I can't deal with it anymore.
Just the NPC Wojak looking at the computer screen, it's like plus 2%. We're just destroyed. We just went through the burner, you know, went through a horrible bear market, and we're so back. we're so back, and yet we're bored. And on that point, shout out to my boy Ben Jessman. He goes, I see you have a nice currency there. It'd be a shame if I were to play Creed on repeat. Hashtag Bitcoin. We're going higher. It's going higher. This is I think this is this the 1 minute chart? 1 hour chart? I don't know. But anyways, it's going up forever. Number go up. It's going higher. Going higher. All right, this is me and Nico again, and everyone else in the chat. Shouts out to McHoddle Face, and we got Sydney Sweeney here, and I think this is Euphoria, and she's crying and being like, I'm good. Anyways, it goes, Bitcoin is sitting near all-time highs, and she's crying and freaking out. She says, I have never ever been happier. I feel good.
A manifestation of fiat, right? It's right there on the screen.
Yeah. Right? I swear I'm not in pain. I'm not in pain right now. This is great. I'm good.
Like, oh man, so much symbolism in all this.
Okay, next one. Shouts
Connect
out
the dots, everyone. It's so obvious. It's right in your face.
Shouts out to Dennis Hoddle, aka Zined Hoddle on Twitter, and he goes, "Boys will be boys." Hashtag Bitcoin. And we got, I don't know what this is, like maybe a Roman or Greek warrior here, looking very regal here in the midst of battle, and it goes or conquering battle, and it goes, how my grandchildren will imagine me fighting for Bitcoin in the third and fourth epochs. Yes, boys, you don't stack sats for your first name, stack sats for your last name.
I saw this is kind of reminds me of, like, I saw something the other day, right, which is this very important concept that after you die, you will be forgotten within 2 generations or a generation, right? I don't think so. And the reason for that is simple. Now there's the internet. What you do lives on forever, right? And it will always echo in eternity, right? So, like, it's just like, I think with these types of things, like this imagery, right? Like, this person didn't exist, but I guess it was like what they perceived the Greeks to be. Like, if you think about the Battle 300, like, you know, and then they comic book it and they make like the movie 300, and then like the actual battle was different and whatever. But like, kind of like Alexander the Great, like the mythology of it lived on. Everything we do is kind of documented at this point. Like, there's a video, like the videos aren't going away. Right. Like, especially if the thing isn't, like, if the thing is popular enough, like, and the internet continues to persist and exist, like, none of this is going away. So why am I saying all this? Why am I going on this tangent? Well, what you do now, right, in terms of your stacking and your whatever, your great grandchildren will be able to look at you like in video, like see you talking about Bitcoin when this thing was at $70,195. So when we say
my granddaddy was an absolute legend,
like it's crazy, right? Like, if we're right about Bitcoin, this thing persists, you know, this thing lasts 1,000 years or whatnot. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be nuts. And
what's Nico, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but what's that one quote? It's something on the lines of like, your words and your actions echo into infinity. And it kind of goes back to everything we say here on the show, is like, you as an individual, you may think you have no voice, no power, but your behavior on a day-to-day basis does affect what happens into the future. And just remember your role in the future and in building a better world. Like, we all have that power now. Bitcoin has given us that power. Anyways, Nico, sorry.
No. Just great. Let's go.
Okay, I do have a few more, and I added these just kind of because of all the things going on in GameStop. Shouts out to the BTC therapist, and he goes, "The financial system is broken," and we have Roaring Kitty here, and I forget what his Reddit name. It's like Deep Value something. Anyways, he goes, with the GameStop guy, Roaring Kitty goes, post his trading positions, it's market manipulation. And then we got Nancy Pelosi here, makes millions insider trading, and it's completely normal. No, nothing's going on here. I don't know. You know, let's get Roaring Kitty in jail and on the Senate, but let's not talk about the fact that Nancy Pelosi is the greatest trader of our generation. All right, this next one, shouts out to Marty Bent. This one just
posted. This was posted while we went live.
Yeah,
this
I saw it. It popped up, and so here's I guess the live stream. We were live, so I wouldn't been able to see
612,000 people watching live, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how dead the mainstream media is and how you are now the media. That is more views than CNN or CNBC or all these professional news channels gets on an average basis. This guy in a fucking just sunglasses talking about a GameStop is getting more views right now. That's the same case with Tim Pool. It's the same case with Joe Rogan. It's the same case with Mr. Beast, right? The internet is now, you are now the mainstream media, Anon. It is you. It is no longer CNN. It's no longer Fox News. Anyways, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, that was great. All right. So before I read the post for the audio listeners, let's zoom in on Rory Kitty right here.
Dude, he just do mad drugs. He's a billionaire. And he's let me just buy this fucking mansion, start fucking popping Percocets and shit.
Incredible. Well, on that vein, Marty Bent goes, this guy's been on a 3-year-long acid trip.
He looks like he's taking mad drugs.
Or let's go on. Let's get Ghost of Whitman a second one. It goes, this is my queen. Oh man, I'm reminded of the quote that Elon always says, the most likely outcome is the most hilarious one. And man, this is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, guys, drop your meme review score in the chat as we cover ours live. I completely forgot to get a score. So Nico, you got to go first.
I'm going to give it this extremely fancy journal. That's my score. Fancy journal. Anyways, Opti, what would you give those memes?
Okay. I'm gonna give it these epic Crocs that Nico is jealous of.
I am super jealous of those. Those are I would wear those I wear Crocs every day, but I would wear those specific Crocs.
Well, the best part about this is I didn't actually buy them and they were a gift, but they're lit.
Opti is stylish if you meet him in person. I'm black or white. So I'm either, if I'm at home comfortable, I look like a homeless dude. If I'm out and about,
Nico literally looks like this every day.
If I'm out and about, I know how to dress because I grew up in Miami, so I know how to dress.
No, only Nico. Only if it's an important event will you dress well. Every other time, Nico is in a hoodie, basketball shorts, and Crocs. Okay,
yeah, man. Okay. Comfort over everything, man. That's my life right now.
All right, anyways, Nico, we got some
for anyone who's new to Simply Bitcoin. First of all, shout out to you, bro. Hope you subscribe, or gal. Appreciate it. And if you're new to the meme review, what you do is you drop your meme score in the live chat and we'll read it loud on air. All right, Opti, let's do this. Okay, Opti Bastardo, poor son of poor dad Opti Field. Oh my god. Score: Dad wants to get beers this weekend and get to know your son. All right, so Satoshi, meme score is a healthy dose of 1990s dad rock to get this bull market rolling. I love that.
Can we take you higher? That's 2000, I think.
Elaine, a meme is a truth. A meme can never lie. If it does, it's not a meme. It's just an ad. Oof. So true. SP, I give the memes Nico's Passport by Foundation Hardware Wallet. Yeah, absolutely. Visnock, nobody should have the right to print money that another man has to twerk for. That is so funny. Robert Schmidt, a 1-year subscription to Nancy's Signal group. Oh man, it's so great. Okay,
she's
killing it.
Okay, we got a few over on Rumble. Shouts out to Idle Thread. He goes, meme score, Roaring Kitty's monthly subscription for Bum Bum renewed. Okay, Narwhal Tacos, score anything but Creed, please. Not like this. Not like this.
Oh man. All right, well guys, thank you so much for tuning into Simply Bitcoin Live.
Honestly, I'm gonna do a hot take here. Not a fan of Creed at all. But hey,
you don't want him to take you higher.
I do want him to take us higher. But I do have two last things I want to say, Nico. First off, the Oilers are going to beat the Panthers. They're America's team now. We have we have confiscated. They are American now. We have taken them. We have we have usurped the Canadian team, and they're America's team now. No, I'm wearing the hat because I lost the bet to the Bitcoin well guys.
Yeah, a little bit of context, because this is absolutely hilarious. So first of all, I like the Panther Stadium is like 20 minutes away from my house. Like, it's super close. I always knew that Florida had a hockey team, but like I didn't care about hockey. And then we hang out with the awesome guys over at Bitcoin Well, incredible team. And of course, you know, they're from Canada, and Canada is super like, it's the sport it's the sport, right? And we saw a hockey game and it was fucking awesome. Now I'm a huge hockey fan. But what are the chances that the Oilers, which is a Bitcoin Well team because they're from Edmonton, go against the Panthers, which is obviously like the Miami team because that's what's close by? Those are the two teams in the finals. What is the probability of that? Not very high, which I find absolutely hilarious. And of course, Opti lost the bet, which is why he's wearing the Oilers hat. I got to say, though, like, you know, I love the Panthers. Go Panthers, right? And there's palm trees and stuff. But like, the Oilers brand is badass. I think it's pretty cool.
No. Go Stars. Go Stars.
What are the colors for the Stars?
It's green. Green, white, black. Yeah. Go Stars.
I don't like that's green. That's
Go Stars. Let's pull
I think Oilers have orange, bro. There's orange in the thing.
And the last thing I wanted to say today is go subscribe. Go check out simplybitcoin.substack.com. We're dropping fire. Our writer
hit 4,000 subscribers. No,
yeah, we wanted to push that today. We're going to do, I believe, this next week. We're going to do kind of like a greatest hits of all the written stuff. We're going to put it into one for you, so you don't have to search for everything. But yeah, go check out our Substack, guys. We drop you. It's kind of becoming a running narrative every Monday of kind of like our in-house writer of what he's seeing and different takes on what's going on. So go to simplybitcoin.substack.com.
You can go to simplybitcoin.news and it'll take you directly there.
Simplybitcoin.news. Okay. And the last thing is, guys, eat some good food, get outside, enjoy the
take
sun.
A walk.
Yeah, get a little exercise in, hang out with your friends and family. You know, the person you're yelling at on Twitter will be back when you come back. So get outside, touch some grass. Really appreciate you guys. We love you. We'll see you on Monday.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this week and make it another week, historic week in Simply Bitcoin's history. Appreciate all you guys. This is your episode for June 7th, 2024. I'm your host, Nico. It's my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. We're Simply Bitcoin. Have an amazing weekend, everybody, and we'll see you Monday for the Monday show of Simply Bitcoin Live. Peace out.
This episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, on a mission to enable independence.